dugsiga boardingka iyo maalinlaha ah ee Amano Boarding and Day School.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum dear students from one classes. Today our topic is about the legacy of Asian Greeks, the heritage of Asian Greeks. So our topic today is talking about what the Greeks have left for the world. Is it in terms of knowledge, in terms of achievement, is what were the things, the achievements the Greeks left for the rest of the world when they were gone? What are they remembered? These are the questions we shall be answering in our lesson today. So now let us go to our lesson, legacy of Asian Greeks. The term legacy is heritage. The thing is that the Greeks have left it for us. So you remember the Asian Greeks might have lived over 2,000 years ago, but they have left their lasting legacy that still affects Western culture and way of life. So when you look at the Greek, they may have lived over 1,000 years ago, but they left a legacy, a heritage that still affects the Western way, culture and way of life. Not only the Western culture, but also the rest of the world and the way they live. During the height of the Greek civilization, when the Greek civilization was the highest, during the time of the philosophers, during the time of Alexander the Great, Greek culture is spread out throughout the Mediterranean. The culture of Greek was seen everywhere, and all the countries that that had occupied in the Mediterranean. So it was then imitated by the Asian Romanists. So after the Greeks they were gone, we have stated that Romanists came, and the Romanists was also another powerful empire. It was founded in Rome, Italy. So the knowledge, the philosophy and the different philosophy of the Asian Greeks was again imitated by the Asian Romanists. As a result, we see the effects of Asian Greek throughout the world now. So that's why now you will see the Greek knowledge everywhere. When you are learning biology, chemistry, physics, geography, history, you will always see terms that are related with Asian Greek. You will always hear those words. For that reason, when the Greeks were gone, all their knowledge were taken by the Romanists, and the Romanists, wherever they conquered, they were taken to the Greek knowledge. Okay. Now let us talk about what's called theater. What we call theater. The Greeks invented the Western drama, where written work is performed by actors. The amazing thing about the Greeks is that they were the one behind the invention of what's called theater, where people could come and watch plays performed by actors, plays that were performed by actors. So those plays that were performed by the actors, like now the movies, was invented by the Greeks. The Western drama, the written work is performed by actors. It was the invention of Asian Greeks. So Greek theater introduced the ideas of comedy and tragedy. Okay, these were the two important plays that the Greeks mostly did when they were proposing in the theater. So the plays of the Greeks were comedy and tragedy. So comedy and tragedy are very different. Comedy is having fun. So actress, the play is always about having fun. The drama is about having fun. But in the tragedy, the actress, they suffer in the tragedy. So they are opposite to one another. If there is a fun, laugh in the comedy, the tragedy, it is about suffering. The actors who are performing the plays, they mostly suffer. So Greek theater influenced art throughout Europe, including plays such as those written by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was an amazing and one of the best, poets in the world that the world has ever seen. British. He was a British. So William Shakespeare even himself was influenced by the Greek plays. So today the world imitates the Greeks with Broadway plays, television shows and movies. All the movies that now we watch, all those TV shows that we see have been influenced by the Greek theater, by the Greek plays like the comedy and tragedy. So the two important plays of the ancient Greeks were mostly comedy and tragedy, which are opposite one another. Okay. What about the government? Now let us talk about the government. You remember the city-state of Athens was the first city-state in the world that used democracy, rule of the people, by the people, for the people. So now, as we all know, the rest of the world, anywhere, any continent, now they practice the rule called democracy, where the people have their word in the government, where the people fought. So now this term of government that we mostly use in the world was used first by ancient Greeks, and that is democracy. So now the Greek city-state of Athens first introduced the world to the ideas of democracy, where people rule themselves, where people rule themselves. Citizens were allowed to vote for their leaders and on the new laws. When there are new laws, people would vote. When there is a leader to be chosen, people should vote for their leaders they wanted to rule them. So most of the world, this government today have some sort of democracy. Maybe the democracy of the countries are a little bit different from one another, but somehow most of the countries in the world, they practice that type of democracy, which is originally from Greek, where the people get to vote and participate in the government. Okay, so now that is the legacy of the Greek in terms of theater, in terms of government. And now let us look in terms of philosophy. So philosophy is a part of knowledge that deals with the search of wisdom and truth. It mostly talks about searching the truth and wisdom. It is about theories, and it focuses those points. So those who have the profession of philosophy are also called philosophers. So the most of the philosophers of ancient Greeks, the most famous ones, they were, for example, Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates. So today philosophy students still study the writings and teachings of the Greek philosophers. So if any of the students now want to be learn about the philosophy, we will be learning about the Greek scholars at that time, like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, because they laid the foundation of the philosophy. And at the same time, most of the modern philosophy that is learned now is based on their ideas and their schools of work. So much of the Western philosophy now is based on the ideas of what? The ideas of the ancient Greeks. So there are the philosophy is also one of the legacy that was left for us by the ancient Greeks. Some of the history's greatest philosophers were those ones. Who were they? Greeks. What is the advantage now? Because they laid the foundation of modern philosophy. And without them, this modern philosophy wouldn't have existed at all. Okay, what about now? Let us look what we call architecture. In terms of architecture and buildings, the Greeks, they influenced the modern building. Greek architecture has been imitated throughout history. The Romans copied many of the Greek ideas into their buildings. So the Romans, we said, in terms of knowledge, they took most of the Greek philosophy and knowledge. And in terms of buildings, they also copied. So the Romans copied most of the Greek ideas into their buildings. Now, if you look at the buildings in the world, like for example, the US Capitol building, the US Capitol building, and the US Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C. They are built in the style of the ancient Greek building. So today many government buildings are built in the Greek classical style, including the US Capitol building and the US Supreme Court. So in terms of building, even their ideas were copied by the Romans, by the other civilizations. Even now, USA, one of the two most important buildings of U.S. government, the Supreme Court and the Capitol building, have been laid down in the Greek classical style. Okay, now What about the other title we go is science and technology, in terms of science and technology. So the Greeks also, they made many advancements in the area of science and technology. So they were not only focusing architecture, theater, they were also focusing the knowledge, in terms of knowledge. For example, the science and technology, they really developed it in a very amazing way. For example, let us look, for example, in the way of mathematics. They are the one who invented what we call the Pythagoras theorem. The Pythagoras theorem about the triangle, the sides of the triangle. So they excelled in the field of mathematics, and we still use many of their theories and ideas. Today you have probably used the Pythagoras theorem. So you may have even learned the Pythagoras theorems. If you want to find the side of triangle, there is a theory you have to follow, Pythagoras theorem. So the other areas of Greek technology included medicine. So what do we call what? The Hippocratic Oath. Hippocratic Oath is the oath that a person has to take when he or she finishes learning medicine. So the Hippocratic Oath is the swearing of the medical, when you finish your medical degree or your medical profession. They swearing, and the oath that a person takes is called Hippocratic Oath. So astronomy also, they were experts, urban planning and at the same time plumbing. Okay, so these were generally the ways Greek was developed in terms of science and knowledge. Pythagoras theorem, Hippocratic Oath, plumbing, urban planning, and at the same time astronomy. They really developed from those dimensions in a very, very advanced way. The other topic that we are talking about is sports. What about the sports? Dear students, you may be familiar with the games called Olympic Games. Where are they from? The Olympic Games are originally from Asian Greeks. The Asian Greeks, they had a mountain, the highest mountain called Olympus Mountain. So the Olympic Games were named after those Olympus Mountain, because every year, a period of time, Asian Greeks, what they used to do, they used to come together, all city-states, and then they used to have a competition, different games, like, archery, running, all those different games that are played in the Olympics. So during the Olympics, no war was for the Greeks used to stop fighting. So they were, imitated by taking their games into their lives. Now we practice the Olympic Games. So the Olympic Games are from there. Example, during 2012 Summer Olympics in London, over 10,000 athletes participated from over 200 nations. So around 4 million people in the world watch it. 4 billion people, the Olympics are watched worldwide by 4 billion people. So now we have talked about the legacy of Greeks in terms of theater and plays, in terms of government, in terms of science and technology, in terms of philosophy, and in terms of sports. So these are the legacy of Greeks. As a student, you should be familiar with that. So this is your assignment. Okay? Describe the Greek legacy in terms of games, math, science, theater, and artists. So that was for all today. There will be also an assignment in the Amano online website, history assignment. So all the students, they should go into the website. They should put, they should put in their username and their password, and they should finish. Only you are allowed to do one time. So that is all from Teacher Abdullahi, wishing you a blessed Ramadan Mubarak. Stay at home, stay safe. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.